what we're looking at this morning remains citizens' protest and engagement. Is it a panacea for Nigeria's challenges? Like I mentioned earlier, we're supposed to have a guest in the studio. Of course, due to some emergencies, he had to quickly handle them. But he still tried to make do with time and make sure that he got here for before the program ends. So we have him right now in the studio. He's a regular caller. He has been consistent and championing genuine change in Nigeria, and of course, he's a social commentator. I'm talking of no one else but Otunba O, Ashiru. You're welcome to the Daybreak Show once again.
Yeah, good morning, listener. Good morning, Tobi. It's a beautiful thing that I'm back in the studio of Rock City FM 101.9 FM. You are doing wonderfully well. I'm sorry I'm late, but it's just due to one of those things that we just can't foresee happening. And it's good I'm here.
All right, now let's go quickly. You saw Nigerians trooping out, protesting against economic hardship, economic recession, insecurity, and so many other issues that are of importance to them. How did you feel when you saw Nigerians mobilizing, protesting on the street?
Let me first say that it saddens one heart when the nation finds itself in its present state, and nobody, I repeat, nobody, unless you are doing something that is illegal, that will not feel the hardship. But my point is, we protest before. We have protested before, we are protesting now, and we still protest. And I see that as one of the beauty of democracy. But my problem with Nigerians and the country at large is the style we use in our protest. Do we just go to the streets and start disturbing people from moving from one place to another? Or we use a style that sends a message across? It is true. The acting president, the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo says that they could hear us loud and clear. They feel it as well. But what style have we been using? This is Nigeria. What style should we use? I remember sometimes earlier in the year, a clerical man, I don't know his name again, in the eastern part of the country, took a bottle of champagne, his glass cup and his seat, and he went to in front of a big refuse dump. And he said he's celebrating his new year there.
Yes,
and
in Owerri,
yes,
the Imo State capital.
Thank you. And then the next day, the officer in charge or the government in charge knows that somebody is protesting without disturbing people from doing their normal way. I think the style is what we need to change. The late Fela Nokolapo has his own style. Tai Sholani of Blessed People, they have their own style. So you don't need to go on the Korodu road. You don't need to stop people from moving. You don't need to find a way of making people to support your protest because your freedom might be an infringement to another person's home.
Then what style do you think is convenient?
No, like I've said before, if you look at the last protest championed by the musician, it is about hardship. And then you ask, what is hardship? Hardship to me might not be hardship to somebody else. So there should be a focal point. There should be something that the protest is always about. Let's go back to the last, since the swearing of Donald Trump in America. There has always been protests. The woman came out for a cause, just one. And they make it louder and clear that this is what they are fighting for. But by the time we are just saying hardship, there's increase in this, increase in that, is it the style of governance we are actually protesting for? The occupied Nigeria worked because we protested against the increase in fuel price there. That is the major thing. Now, are we protesting for the rate which the National Assembly, we don't know how much they earn? Is that what we actually, are we protesting against corruption? Are we protesting? There should be an anchor point that the country should protest or people should protest for.
Okay, there should be a cause.
Yes, there should not just a general thing that there is increase in the price of gas, there's increase. There should be a rallying point that this is what we are protesting for. And the style should be, we should move away from the former, let's occupy the whole of Moshood Abiola. We know a lecturer could come out and say today we are protesting that they are not giving us our salary. Actually, I believe in protest, but the point is, what style are we using that will not infringe on
Other
others?
people's rights.
All right, now let us look at the statement credited to Ashwaju Bola Tinubu when protesters besieged his residence, and he addressed them, saying that, well, we might need to have a rethink, replan, and restructure the country, and maybe protests may not solve Nigeria's problems. He was categorical in saying that. Went further by saying that, well, if Nigerians, just like echoing Baba Obasanjo's thought that if you are not in, so if you don't like what is happening with the Buhari administration, wait till 2019, and then you can decide with your vote.
Yeah, I will disagree with Bola Ahmed Tinubu on that stand that it may not, or it will not, I don't know, but it will create an impact that can lead to the solution. If the acting president could say they could hear the protesters loud and clear, that means somebody will do something. The House of Reps, I think yesterday, is doing something in now. They're talking about price, and I think so many people now are coming on board to find a way, rather than what Fela we call suffering and smiling. Just keep quiet and you assume that everything is right. I'll quickly going back to the American example again. Somebody said it, that's Martin Luther King, I have a dream that one day, blah, 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 blah. And the dream is Obama. They came out then, but at the end of the day, we have what's happening, Now, Ogoni, in fact, the late Kensariwa died for a cause. And today, even the present administration is doing enough to clean up the mess in that part of the country. And even they just keep quiet and they are not saying anything, we might not know what is happening. Now, it is the person that actually wears the shoe that know where it's pinching. So if you don't say it, even at home, when our children protest, our wives protest, even the president of the country once protested over an issue. So there's nothing wrong in it. But what I think is that the style of protest is what we should change. Let me give you a small example again. I didn't we don't have to bring back our girls. You might not see any of those girls. You might not even negotiate with terrorists or whoever they are. But because they are consistent, they have their style. They will go to a garden, they will sit down there, they will wear red, they will see their lips. They are passing a message across. And it's got to a stage, it attracts the whole world. And solutions are coming.
And they were using the social media.
Yeah, so I think it is a must of people to protest, because democracy is actually the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And for you to know the impact of your decisions at the top, it is true what people say.
The feedback is very, very important.
Okay, looking at the social media now, is it right to use the social media for protests?
That is the most I call it the most common one, and it is the best one so far. Because if you have the right to use the social media to campaign, if you have the social media to address, then you should have the social media also to protest.
That's the word.
Yes.
Right, having the right.
Yes.
How many of these protests do we have the right to conduct?
I didn't get your again.
Yeah, you talked about rights.
Yes.
Yes, having the right to do something.
Freedom of expression.
Okay.
Freedom of expression. If I am not having lights in my house and I am receiving bill, I can go to the social media. I could even carry just a placard and go and stand in front of whatever deck it is, because I don't know if it's Abbey deck or you get that deck or whatever deck it is behind that I don't have light and I have bill. I could just stand there without disturbing anybody for the next 24 hours. That is what I mean by style. Now, by the time you pass in the morning and Otunba is still here, in the evening, somebody will join me, or the management will start saying, okay, Otunba, let's go to your house and see what the problem is. But I don't need to gather people, go to the streets, stop traffic. If the taxi drivers are feeling aggrieved about an issue, just park at home. People will get your message. And I think that's what I'm saying, that the style that we have been using before is we don't need to occupy now. No, we can express better with other methods.
Okay, with other mediums.
All right, now let me engage you on the anti-corruption war in the country. It's been treated with mixed reactions. Billions have been recovered, billions have been returned, billions have been discovered in people's safe houses, in bunkers, in in containers, in people's homes. You recall the judges that were raided overnight, and yet people still feel that we are not really fighting corruption, or maybe they think it is lopsided, it is one-sided, and so. Or some even have gone further to say it is a diversionary tactic of the Buhari administration from their incompetence and maladministration. What's your take on this?
Let me say that for the first time in the history of this country, we're having it good in terms of fighting corruption. At least some loot are recovered. You can see the money. Actually, Abacha loot is outside the country, but within the system, in the country, in somebody's house, some money, foreign exchange, and hard currencies are being confiscated. It's a plus. I don't want to know whether you belong to party A or party B, whether it is politicized or not, but something that was looted from the people is going back to the people. It's a plus. Whatever style it's used. Now, if a party is saying that they are wish hunting them or that it is centered on one particular party members, then when you get back to power, will beam your searchlight on the other party. It's for the good of the people. What matters is that actually we are seeing results that EFCC is doing something. There are no more toothless bulldogs. The country, the Minister of Information came on here and he said that the whistleblower thing is working. It's fine. If it is working, that is what we need. I don't want to know whether it is this approach that is being applied or not, but what are we seeing? Results, money, cash, evidence is glaring. We are seeing it. It's on the media. Okay, this is the first time that INEC is coming out to say that these are the money used to bribe our official. We saw it cash. So if we are seeing those things, then it's a good development, and I think the country should just be happy that for the first time the masses are winning.
Okay,
All right.
can we actually do without protesting in Nigeria?
No, because even in developed world, even in countries where they have almost everything, people still protest.
Okay.
Because what you think is your need, what I think is your need, might not be your want. So what you are actually agitating for, it is best known to you, and you should have that freedom to express yourself.
Okay.
If, for example, I'm thinking that what you need now is education, whereas what you need is actually healthcare facility, you have the right to express yourself. But how do you express yourself that won't infringe on my own right is what actually matters.
Okay, protesting, which is expression of oneself, has come to stay in Nigeria. Okay.
Let's continue with the calls and the reactions via the messages and the Twitter handle. We have in the studio Otunba O, Ashiru, social commentator, regular on this program. You can be part of this by calling the studio lines 0809 868 7344 and 0909 146 9670. The short code remains 32120. Type rock, leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send to 32120.
And also the Twitter handle at Rock City FM. Go there, like the page, tweet at us at Rock City FM. Hello?
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
I say once again, good morning.
Good morning.
I remain for Akemi.
Thank you for calling.
Ashiru, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to make a very brief comment on what I heard this morning. Protest is a legitimate weapon, to fight against the government sometimes, demanding for their rights. And I think I will support that because that is the only language the government understands. Alaji, you mentioned the one-man protest. I think that is very obsolete and no longer feasible in anywhere in the world now. Like Dajolani would do. I'm not sure whether any government will listen, will take him serious for that if anyone goes on street, protesting all his own. And one other thing I want to comment upon briefly is this question of anti-GAP, which is being pursued by the federal government. Yes, everybody supports that fight. But one thing I do know is that it is not proper for a government to focus on the opposition. And I've made my position known several times. And I want the government to change that style. When you do that, you are not representing the people.
Thank you.
For that
Let's take more
one.
calls
Hello?
while I guess it's down these issues. Hello? Hello? Okay, maybe when you're ready, you can call back since you're not ready. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Tobi. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, in the house. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am calling from Obantuku.
Thank you for calling.
I would disagree with Otunba O Ashiru on a submission of that on that protest that the protest did not center on a particular thing. It was just maybe generalized. But you see, those people, the leaders of those protests, they still came out with their points, the number of points they demanded from the government to rectify. I cannot really remember those points, but they read it out to the government that by May 29, if all those things were not addressed, which includes this suffering that is in the land, governance, corruption, they were all put in that letter of that they read out. So how is it that the protest is not sent on some particular basic thing? So the protest embodied the whole problems that we are going through in this country. So that is why I said I disagree with Otunba O Ashiru. And for the money recovered from Yakubu Andrew, we all remembered when Sanusi, the central bank governor, really said about $20 billion were not remitted to the central bank. Then president, because of that singular talk from Sanusi, he was fired. And so now, our former president, I will really beg the EFCC to throw flashlight on the former president, because there is no way he must not have benefited from that $20 billion. For somebody coming out to say, so money was not, I did not receive it, then the president of the country has said, you talk, get out, leave your seat. So I think
Babarele,
hello.
you want the EFCC to investigate or probably arrest the former president?
They should really investigate if there is ample evidence to show that it benefited from that $20 billion.
Okay.
Then I think it should go in. There are presidents in over. Look at the South Korean president. He's currently under scrutiny, and maybe any time from now she could be fired or even go to jail. It has happened, and so why is it not happening in this part of the country? If our president go foul of the law.
Okay.
So let me rest for now.
All right, thank you for your submission.
Hello?
Hello, good morning, Tobi.
Good morning.
Good morning, Agumeria.
It's Chienye.
Yeah, sorry, Chienye, good morning. Good morning, our resource person.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I commend you. Thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful solution.
You've not told us your name?
Ashiru from Abeokuta.
Thank you for calling.
All right, let me quickly talk about the issue at hand this morning, talking about protests and things like that. You see, Nigerians, we get many things wrong at times. Let me firstly say, we do ask questions after the deal has been done. We started asking questions after things have been done. Let us take the example of the executive order given by Donald Trump in the United States of America. Immediately, Donald Trump gave the executive order. People went out on protest against the executive order before it was implemented at all. Those who went to court. The judiciary did their own. Before you know it, everything died down. The executive order was set aside. In our own case in Nigeria, it is after when things have happened, that is when we continue, we started shouting. We don't act, immediately it started. Let us remember the 2012, what's it called, first subsidy hike in price. Immediately it was announced, we went to the street. And we made a very good result out of that. But in other cases, see, I think what our leaders need are those people who will put them on their toes. Immediately they make mention of anything. Maybe they let me take for example, just an example of the issue of the 4 billion naira being what's it called at the Ogun State House of Assembly that the governor requested for. Let's assume that we want to go against it. Before it was approved or before it can be approved, we should be on the street if after we want to protest. Before it can be approved. But the problem we have in Nigeria is that it is when it is approved, that is when we continue to shout. We should act before the law is being implemented. You should act before they act on anything that we believe or that we think will not be in the interest of the populace. That is my submission this morning. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for your submission.
Okay, we'll pick more calls and then Otunba Ashiru will react. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, our guest, and Chienye and Tobi.
Good
Come on, sir.
morning.
My name is Big Daddy. There's only two things I want to say loudly. If you always blame someone with your misfortune, you'll be a loser forever. And I want to tell the whole Nigeria, those people that is not supporting those protests, they are getting from this regime more than ever. We are talking about the protest. Is it that the promise that our president promised us that the health center will be good, the hospital will be good? He now go over there. That is number one protest. And they only telling us because they are getting, that's why they are condemning it. Where are we going from here? We have been hearing they have been collecting money, not collecting money. Where is this money that they are collecting since all these days? 2 years is away. More 1 year now, 1 year for campaigning. And we are still hoping that it's going to be good. Our past president told us that we should take only 3 months. It will be good in Nigeria. Look at how things is going. Dollar is over 5 to 600, getting to 600 today. You want us to be okay. They only come and tell us that Nigeria is the happiest country in the whole world. Do you go to Odeda, in my hometown? And you are telling us that you have found the problem of why goods is getting costly in Nigeria. You are telling us the transportation will go through train. Odeda to Abeokuta, is there any train there? We should help ourselves. Those who that see this money, what they have done to them, they leave them only. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Please, I want to tell you that they say past administration to squander the money. Please, I want you to name one of them. I think it's only good luck Jonathan regime. Name one of them. Our president now succeeded about increasing fuel in the name of subsidy. Obasanjo didn't succeed. Jonathan didn't succeed. Look at many things how it's going in Nigeria today. You want us to believe that we cannot do it. We are not practicing with Nigeria. We're only going to do it because we know it. If you don't know how to do it, there's a way of doing things. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think we'll take one more call and allow.
Just one and allow him to react.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, we have you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Daybreak Show from Ashiru.
Thank you for calling.
The protest is very good, but it depends on the way individuals speak it. In Nigeria today, if I might say, I would prefer the federal government to be running affairs like Amosu is doing. Like the money they say they want to, the looters' money. I don't see anything bad in giving it to all the retirees that have not been paid gratuity throughout the nation. Let peace be with everybody. This is what we can see. But because if they say we want to give 20 million to graduates or to corporates, how do we know who they are going to give it to? It's a political talk. It is very wrong. So I'm saying this morning that if we have money now, all the gratuities that is for people, a lot of them are dying. There's a woman in my environment, Mrs. Odiloromidiji. She has retired since 2006. She has not taken a gratuity. She works with Federal. So all these things can be collated and let them pay centrally. They do give money to governors. See what is happening in our government in Ogun State now. He said he's going to pay gratuity with 13 billion or something. He has paid just in state. Nothing in local government. So I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Nigeria is terrible.
Thank you for your submission, Bello Gabriel. All right, let's add these messages and then we allow our guests to the studio to react. Olasukomi, the first part of your message is not worthy of reading. You're actually cursing those who are defending the government, and that is not good enough. Moreover, you're saying we will not stop criticizing this government until they return Nigeria to how they met it or quit. We are dying, and that is a cause or source for concern. I think I will ask the guests to react to that. If you want the government to leave it or to return Nigeria to how you met it. Protest is only a way of communicating to government to let them know what we are passing through about the problem is the political aspect of it, because politicians will use their power and resources to motivate some Nigerians. Nigerians need to change their orientation and money because some of us are selfish and heartless. I'm in support of protest because it's the only language that government understand. BC Okwaride from Ukiagbede. Same thing that. Protest is either for commendation, condemnation, or agitation. Whichever is applicable to whoever is affected should be taken and make amends. Imagine the government claiming payment of gratuities to retirees, yet nothing has been paid to retired primary school teachers. And if they protest now, it will be taxed otherwise. God save Nigeria. MOK from Ayetoro sent in that. Whether Buhari met empty treasury or not, or protests are politically motivated, there is need for protest and should be encouraged. As ongoing spendthrift at the National Assembly or the governor's monthly security vote running into millions and billions of naira, or foreign medical trips, etc., stopped despite the economic recession, should we allow the representatives of headsmen in governments to give out our land to criminals in their bid to fulfill their hidden agenda? We must rise up against these tyrants and say no. One day God will hear our voices and cry and deliver us. Kenya Additional from Ashiru sent in that. Sammy Tobi from Mukelo says, I would say it is the best solution we need now in Nigeria to voice out. Good morning. Protesting is a way of speaking someone's mind, but our leaders will never hearken to the voice of the people. Pius from Shadje is very, very pessimistic this morning. Civil protest and sovereign doctrine must be followed by constructive people's engagement for fulfillment of people's sovereign charter earlier specified. Citizens Watch sent in that. My dear people at Rock City FM, may God continue to use you and bless you the more. Thank you. These are my questions. Is it constitutionally right? Does it make sense? Or is it godly with the situation of our economy? When many people are suffering, even dying, to budget 400 million naira to purchase vehicles for past presidents. Are we truly fighting corruption? The experts say money is not a problem, but mismanagement. Are they right? That's is coming from Babatunde in Abeokuta. Questions for you, Dr. Ashiru. Babatunde actually sent that message twice. We got you. Nigerians, please help to appeal to the state government and the governor of Ogun State to please pay pensioners on its payroll. It is now 55 days that pensioners got their December pay. What exactly is our offense? Tayo from Totoro sent in that. Your reaction to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me start from the submission of Fola Kinyemi, and it was saying that the EFCC, the anti-corruption law is focused on the opposition, and I asked, how do you determine that? Did they tell you they are card-carrying members? Now, being an opposition member or in a particular party, political party doesn't mean that you commit crime and they will not go after you. So, and I've said before, whether party A or party B, what we are interested in is that whosoever has done wrong, start taking them in one by one. By the time the other party gets into power, if you feel that you should now focus your own on them, it's for the benefit of the masses. Babade, yes, I picked from what you said that the day of one person, one man protest is gone. No, I will disagree with you. What I said, I will still repeat it, is that it is too general what the last protest stood for. I would have loved it, for example, fix our refinery. If that is the focus of that protest, and the government should give us reason why our refineries are not working, because most of this problem can be traced back to the importation of, or should I say, the increase in fuel price. Because if we have our refineries working, we have the crude oil here, then so many of those things, because the food, everything that we are witnessing now is as a result of transportation, which I believe is the means of surviving itself. The person has to transport his food from the farm to the city, and so many things like that. But if only we could fix our refinery, and if the protest is centered on that alone, it will solve so many of those problems listed, like the gas of price, increase in price rise, and all those stuff. If it is, for example, bring back our agriculture, and let's see whatever the state governments are doing. Lagos State, in partnership with Kebbi State, they came out with something. How many states are doing that? Do we have it all over the states coming on? But if that is going to be our problem, let's focus on, not just generalize it, and somebody somewhere, the politician somewhere, will now key into the protest and make it violence. Nobody have said it that it is wrong to protest. I agree that we need the protest, and the protest should just be not be should be violence free. Basharu Abdulaziz, yes, we are saying almost the same thing. That is about the style, the way. When do we start protest? Is it when the after implementation, or should it be before implementation? What do we do before, during, and after? Now, the Nigerian style is usually after. Nobody's asking at the budget stage now. They are talking about it. It's in the press. The minister was saying that they did not put something in the budget. Why is it there? No, EFCC is not going after. How do they get about fixing some amount into the budget when it did not come from the ministry? So nobody's asking questions. But by the time they start implementing it and we are now having problem, that's when we now go back to the streets and we protest. So it's about the style that Basharu Abdulaziz is talking about. I think by and large, everybody feels the pain, and nobody says that we don't have the right to protest. But the point is, what style are we using to protest? And I believe that if our protests are centered on one or two issues, that we anchor the rest, we get the listening here of the government. Because I believe actually that's the language that the government understands most.
Okay, let's add the tweets to it. We have this one from Olatunde Kenny Oriri. In fact, militancy is what we need, not just protesting. An ordinary Nigerian man has nothing to lose. I am available for the struggle. That's a tweet from Olatunde Kenny Oriri. Then Yemi Da Vinci, if one does not protest, they will kill one slowly and then say one is enjoying it. Otunba, please give examples of other forms of protest. Gab Kunle, protest will forever be a weapon to show to the government that something is wrong, but it must not be politicized. SIA plus PMB DNA, the fight against corruption is on the right. Is on the right people because they were the ones who occupied offices. Will they go and probe who wasn't there? Then still coming from Gab Kunde, federal directors in the Ministry of Works and Boundary Commission in Ogun State should please visit the road grading between Ijong and Igbokofi. Then Dami, we must borrow a leaf from those who have trekked the rugged path of democracy and are now reaping the dividend of the experience. Gab Kunle again, or Barazaka Dewusi can please join them. The road will constitute great hardship for the people of Igbokofi. Okay, it has nothing to do with what we are talking about. Okay, can you answer the question? What other forms? Give examples of other forms of protest.
Yeah, I've talked about the other forms before. I've talked about sit at home. I've talked about one man riot thing that you just go to. If somebody's, for example, if there is no water, you could occupy water corporation, 2 or 3 people. And we can see some people going to these power agencies, headquarters, protest that they don't have lights. But quickly, I would never support that militancy aspect. It's not the best form. It's not even good at all, because no matter what happens, we still come back to the table to judge. If you protest, it's okay, but militancy, I say no. The other forms that we have talked about. How do we do it? Hunger strike. People do it. It's quite avoided that we don't have people like Fela Nicola Kwege, we don't have people like Ganifayemi. Ganifayemi is a one-man thing. He goes to court, he challenged them, he challenged the policy. But are we seeing that again? Are we seeing people going to court, even suing government over some policies? So these are other forms of that I also believe. Like for example, there's a man on the internet that this thief is not an image of the Yoruba nation. The man is protesting based on the comment of the Archbishop that the ex-convicts represent the Yoruba nation. And I believe so many people also will go against that. So there are other forms of passing your message
Lone
across.
protest.
God's so good. All our office holders now on the social media, they have their platforms. There was a time an online reporter was giving us their even phone numbers that we could access them and tell them how we feel. So we could do that as well. And I believe that they will hear us louder and clearer.
Okay, but I will not support going on hunger strike because even a square meal a day is
Chienye,
difficult.
I can see you love food. Maybe when the
Everyone
food,
loves
when
food.
when the food becomes unaffordable, maybe you will be forced to go on that strike.
Okay.
All right, let's get back to the calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Toby, I was not the one that said one man protest cannot work in this country. It's not credited to me. I think it was credited to the first caller and not me.
Okay.
What I said was a disagreement with Otunba O that the protesters.
Okay. All right, no problem. No hassle. Bye-bye.
Okay, we lost that call.
Your points were noted. Hello.
Hello, we got you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chienye.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Tobi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good. Otunba Ashiru.
Sir,
Good morning. How are you, sir?
good morning, sir.
Yeah. I know that Taiwan, you're put people, that corner area in the town.
Good morning, Elder.
Thank you. Let me sound it loud and clear. These people are fighting corruption. Somebody is saying they are fighting the opposition. You have said it well. How does he know? That is so it's only the opposition. They are fighting. Yakubu, in whose house and some dollars, thousands of dollars was found. Is it the opposition?
Not even the political party. That was the secretariat.
But in the opposition. Look, if this government is not voted back in 2019, and this country, we citizens allow PDP to come back, this country is doomed. Because they brought us into this state of economy. They looted the treasury for 20 years. When we were saying they were fighting, they were stealing. Former President Jonathan was telling us, stealing was not corruption. And you can see it now. What money, the amount of money they have stolen. Look at what the wife stole. And it is now telling us the money was given to her. Money given to wife of the president. By who? By laymen. And he deposited this account in her mate's account, in her driver's account. Is that not corruption? No. We should not allow PDP to come back. Otherwise, that will be the end of Nigeria.
Okay. That's
because
okay.
They are chameleon. They will continue to change their colors. Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right.
thank you very much. Okay, this should be the last call.
And anybody's opinion. Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chienye.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tobi.
Good morning.
My name is Pastor Shola Makinde. I am calling from Owu Kingdom, Egwuonwu, Abeokuta.
Thank you for calling.
My position is that in a democratic setting in which we find ourselves today, the only weapon we can use, mass protest. There's nothing anybody can do about that. So I want to encourage Nigerians to continue with nationwide protest that is peaceful until government is ready to do the needful. My own position again is that the government has not done anything for the past 2 years. People are hungry. People are dying. There are no drugs in the hospitals. Come back to Ogun State here. I'm organizing a peaceful protest in Abeokuta here, and I want to believe that Otunba Ashiru will join me in this peaceful protest. Today, I want to say that the struggle continues and the protest continues. God bless Nigeria. God bless Ogun State. And
God bless you too, Pastor Sholamakide. That's a good one. Otunba Ashiru, your reaction first from Pastor Sholamakide. Do you agree that government has done nothing for the past 2 years, both at the federal and the state level?
No. I won't agree with Pastor Sholabakide. And if Pastor is going on protest, that's a good one. I hope the church members will not have divided issues on that. So, saying that the government has not done anything, I won't agree with that. It only depends on where we need their attention most. Even fighting corruption alone is something. Now, let me use the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing for example. The Minister Fashola says that they want to continue all existing projects, and I think they are doing something in that aspect. I know that Lagos, but I can't say no, they are not doing anything. They are doing something, but in terms of standard of living, and then that's where people are feeling it much. And I think these things centered more on the increase in the price of fuel and petrol, because that is the main thing that this country economy relies on. And that is where I go back to what Baba, I was talking about this question, that the protest should be centered or anchored on a particular point, and others will follow. For example, if it is fix our refinery, that is the protest all about, it will be okay. Are we saying that they bring back our girls group, don't divert and say some other things, but their focus is about those
Chibok
girls, but they still make their points known on some national issues, and that is reacting to what Baba really said. Pastor Shola Makinde, the government is doing something. They are doing, even sitting down and having meeting is something. The only thing that we want to see result in this aspect
in crash
of
crisis. All right, let's wrap it up with these messages. So, will it be a good thing for the elderly ones in the Penn State to go into the streets to protest non-payment of their January pensions as of February 15? This is bad. That's case you're talking about unpaid pensions. Sir, Tubashiro, why is the invitation of the third batch of pensioners July-December 2013 delayed?
I don't have some.
Equipment, raw materials, and little cash should be given to graduates and UCO members in the area of interest and should be monitored. MOK Ayeto sent in that one, apparently in reaction to the quick take earlier. Thank you so much for your contributions, the calls, the messages, and of course the tweets. Thank you very much, Otunba Ashiru. Even though you had some emergencies you had to handle, you still actually found time to come to the studio. We appreciate you. That's our show this morning. Join us again tomorrow for the Thursday edition. I remain Tobi Joseph.
And I am Chienye. Well, good morning.